Good evening on Sunday the 6th of November. It's time now to join Mary Nightingale for all the ITV News.
Good evening. The government's controversial £12 billion NHS computer upgrade has become a victim of the crisis in public finances. Alistair Darling will use next week's pre-budget report to confirm dramatic cuts to the NHS IT programme in England, a project still years overdue and way over budget. Our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
It was meant to be a New Labour flagship, an ambitious project to bring the health service in England into the 21st century with computerised patient records and improved patient care. But a single IT system for the NHS has proved a huge technological challenge. There have been delays and rising costs. Now it's to become a casualty of government spending cuts as the Chancellor tries to balance his books.
I do think it is necessary for me on Wednesday to indicate, areas where we are going to cut spending or where we're not going to spend as much as we were. For example, the NHS had a quite expensive IT system that, frankly, isn't essential to the front line. It's something that I think we don't need to go ahead with just now.
Launched by Tony Blair in 2002, it had a price tag of more than £12 billion. The system was supposed to create a central database of all patients' records, allow the digital transfer of X-rays and scans between hospitals and surgeries, and introduce electronic prescriptions. Using fingerprint identification for security, this GP is now able to sit at home and access medical notes locked in the computer at his surgery.
At the moment, it's just a glint in somebody's eye, and several bits of it are up and running, seemingly working reasonably well. But we can't tell how good it could be, and we'll never know if we chop it short now.
Critics of the scheme feared a database which replaced traditional medical notes would be vulnerable to computer hackers, and they pointed to the failure of other government IT projects.
Billions of pounds have been spent, billions of them have been wasted, and actually they've never delivered. And I'm afraid that's true of this NHS IT programme. It's late, it's over budget, money has been spent centrally and it's not delivered on what it promised.
Just how much of the project is being scrapped will be revealed this week, but the Chancellor is thought to be looking for savings of hundreds of millions of pounds.
So, Simon, less than 3 days to go till Alistair Darling's pre-budget report. Any other clues what to expect?
Mary, as well as trying to bring government borrowing under control, the Chancellor will be hoping to give Labour a boost in the polls. So we've heard lots of murmurs this weekend from the Treasury suggesting he may try to cash in on public anger over bankers' bonuses. There's been talk of a temporary windfall tax on the bankers themselves or simply a tax on just the banks. Both have provoked angry warnings of financial institutions moving abroad. So the challenge for Mr Darling is to be seen to be hitting the banks without damaging the economy. Mary.
Right, Simon Harris in Westminster, thank you. The royal family has issued a blunt warning to Britain's newspapers that it will no longer tolerate them using paparazzi photos. Buckingham Palace has told the papers they must observe their own rules on privacy and not publish intrusive pictures. Jackie Kabler has the full details.
Prince Charles and Camilla filmed spending Sunday at Sandringham. But it's not pictures like this the royal family are complaining about. They've become increasingly annoyed by scenes like this. Photographers hounding Prince William's girlfriend Kate Middleton on her way to work. And it's thought it's the prince who's been the driving force behind this royal warning to newspapers and paparazzi. Princess Diana was followed in a similar way. Many senior royals still blame photographers for her death. Now they're demanding more privacy as they go about their everyday lives.
Queen riding every day, there's, photographers go and take that. Or the Prince of Wales out with his children. Just things like that. They've just had enough, and they've got the law on their side now.
England football manager Fabio Capello made similar privacy demands after being photographed with his wife on holiday. 2 newspapers were forced to apologise. The royals' demands will be tested when they gather for Christmas at Sandringham. After the usual official photos at the church, they want to be left alone. But some feel meeting these demands could cause big problems for newspapers.
Sometimes you need photographs to prove the veracity of a story. Therefore, it is essential that sometimes these photographs are taken because otherwise stories of legitimate public interest may not make the paper and the public that pay the bill might not get to find out about it.
It seems though the royals are determined to get tough on those who invade their privacy. A media lawyer has now briefed royal aides on their options if they feel intrusive photos have been taken. And it's understood the royal family will, if necessary, consider legal action, both civil and criminal. Jackie Cabler, ITV News at Buckingham Palace.
A nationwide manhunt for the husband of a murdered woman has been called off after he was found in North Wales. Michael Roberts was arrested in Wrexham after a tip-off from the public. Vicky Roberts, his wife of 6 months, was found strangled in the garage of the couple's home in Runcorn on Thursday. Greek police have spent the day battling rioters on the anniversary of a police shooting that sparked the country's worst unrest in decades last year. Thousands marched in Athens to mark the killing by police of a teenager. And the American Defense Secretary Robert Gates has admitted the United States has no idea where the al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden is hiding.
We don't know for a fact where Osama bin Laden is. If we did, we'd go get him. But
when was the last time we had any good intelligence on where
I think it's been years.
Years?
I think so.
Now, a doctor has claimed that baby Peter could still be alive today if the paediatric clinic that failed to spot his injuries had listened to her concerns. Dr. Kim Holt says she warned that a child would die if action wasn't taken to improve standards. But she says she was ignored. Salma Siraj has her story.
Every day we're seeing children who are at risk of abuse and neglect. And every day there was a possible disaster waiting to happen. So it came as absolutely no surprise to me when I heard about Peter Connolly's death.
Haringey Social Services has been roundly blamed for the death of baby Peter, but Dr. Kim Holt says the story isn't over. She worked as a consultant at the Great Ormond Street-run NHS clinic that sent baby Peter home just before his death.
By the time Peter was seen in the clinic, there was a temporary doctor there, and the rest of us were either sick or had resigned. I felt very angry that the service had collapsed.
Kim and her colleagues had raised concerns more than a year before baby Peter died about severe staff shortages, the disorganisation and the hostile atmosphere at their clinic. She says they were ignored.
It was as if our concerns were being dismissed. I find that, that is still very difficult for me because obviously those concerns were shown to be valid.
NHS London, the authority that oversees trusts in the capital, will publish a report on Kim's claims on Tuesday. Great Ormond Street Hospital told ITV News Today, "We understand that this independent report, after a thorough investigation, finds that there was no bullying and no specific targeting or victimisation of staff around raising concerns or any other matter." Kim now fears that the authorities are making this an issue about her rather than about vulnerable children and the care they should be receiving. Salma Siraj, ITV News.
Tottenham missed out on the chance to jump to third in the Premier League after losing a 2-goal lead at Everton. The home side fought back to draw the game, but as Elliot Cook reports, their efforts almost came to nothing.
A memorable match gathered momentum early in the second half. Jermaine Defoe breaking stubborn Everton resistance with his 12th league goal of the season. It looked like David Moyes' side were heading for a 4th consecutive league defeat when Michael Dawson doubled the lead. But the hosts weren't prepared to lie down. Substitute Louis Saha set up an exciting finale. Just 8 minutes later, Everton were level thanks to Tim Cahill. But in this pulsating game, there was to be another twist. Deep into added time, Tony Hibbert fouled Wilson Palacios in the penalty area. England striker Defoe failed to beat the United States goalkeeper Tim Howard. England fans will hope this isn't a bad omen for their World Cup meeting next summer. It ended Everton 2, Tottenham 2. Spurs remained 4th in the table. Elliot Cook, ITV News.
People in Indonesia have set a new world record for paper lanterns. 10,000 were released into the night sky on a beach in North Jakarta. Quite a sight. And that is all from us for the moment. The weather forecast is next, but from everyone here, all the team on the Night News, good night.
Though the skies are filled with clouds, Sheila's wheels will do you proud. Where the skies are grey or blue, our car insurance covers you.
Hello, good evening. Well, I'm not sure we can all fit in that northwest corner of Scotland and Ireland. That's where we need to be to stand the chance of a dry day tomorrow. Everywhere else it's either rain or showers. Showers around this evening too, mostly in the west and along the south coast. But as it goes through the night, some heavier rain will work its way up the western side of England and Wales into southwest Scotland by the end of the night. And then tomorrow, well, that area of cloud and rain just spreads out north and east really, so we all see some rain at times, except maybe the far northwest, where it will be mostly dry, and the southwest after a thoroughly wet start to the day. It'll go into sunny spells and showers for the afternoon. Temperature-wise, they're pretty much bang on normal for this point in December, but fresh winds will make it feel colder than it looks. Top temperatures around 10 or 11.